All right, welcome. Welcome to our new consultant training. Thank you guys so much for joining me. My name is Becky Young. I am your Executive National Vice President, and I'm excited to be sharing with you guys tonight on just getting started, which is usually the most overwhelming part, but also the most exciting. And to be honest, for me, it's been over 14 years since I started my Arbonne business. And I can remember what it was like to start, like it was yesterday, and the excitement and the unknown and the just everything that comes with, starting a new business and really just, like I said, that unknown aspect of it. So I'm excited to be able to share with you guys. And I know that this is probably that time in your business when you're like, okay, what have I got myself into? I feel, like I said, overwhelmed by all of the information, but here's what I just want to remind you, and I want you to remember in the process, is that any new thing, even if it's a new job you're taking on or whatever it may be, there's going to be periods where it's overwhelming, right? And so just take it, chunk by chunk, and know that I feel one of the very best ways that you can learn in this business is by doing, is just getting yourself out there, getting started. If you're going to wait till you know everything about Arbonne to start, you never will. So that's the biggest thing. A biggest piece of advice that I can just tell you right off the hop is that you've absolutely got to go for it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just share my screen with you guys. Gotta exit this full screen somehow that I got myself into. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna talk you through, kind of our getting started. Now, I don't know if you're on this call and you've seen this before, or if sorry, for some reason, I'm just trying to get it so that it will put me on the screen, and it really likes you, Heavenly, because it keeps putting you up on the screen there. But okay, I'm just going to leave that off of there, and hopefully this will be okay. So actually, before I do that, can I just make sure, can you give me a thumbs up that you can see my screen? Okay, awesome. All right, so there we go. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to walk you through kind of some of the main things. We're going to talk about, what it'll look like in your first week. We're going to talk about kind of your first 30 days. And like I said, any questions that you have after, you're absolutely can ask. So this is obviously straightforward, but I did show you the website. And so, and this document is there, but write down if you don't have the password, because you need that in order to get into your consultant resources. And then this is a great thing to print off and just put in a binder or a Dutang or whatever, wherever you want to have it. CNTC, just so that you know that what that is, that's our Canadian National Training Conference. So that happens in Toronto every year in September. GTC is in Vegas every year. This year it happens to be in May. Usually it's in April. And that event is actually sold out, but you can actually go on a wait list. And now is a really good time to go on the wait list, because there's a good chance you'll be able to go, because what happens is they will open up more spots. So, if you're listening to this after the fact or later on, that might not be relevant, but just for those of you that are listening live to me right now, GTC is just something that you've got to attend. It is one of those things that is so important to building our business. And I always compare it kind of like if I was a doctor, or if I was a dentist, or, whatever profession I was in, a realtor, whatever, you name it. And they had an annual training that likely you would be required to attend, right? And so we are business owners and we have that choice, but for me, it's never been a choice, and it's never been negotiable. It's always been something to attend, because that's building me, and it's tools to help build my business, right? And ultimately, that's what I am. I own my own business, and so do all of you. So number one thing is our business has to start somewhere. And it's like where? And often I tell people, if you have a list, that's all it takes. That's what you need, is you just need a list of people, that can put you in business, right? So the very first thing is a master contact list. And the reason being that we put this right head on is because you, if you haven't already, you're going to think of people. And what I want you to do is I want you to write down as many people as you can think of. And there's this awesome little, memory jogger here. And the thing about that I love so much about Arbonne, among other things, but it doesn't discriminate, right? It doesn't discriminate on gender, on age. Like really, we have products for everyone, no matter what. So if you have hair and skin, you can be a consumer of our products, which is awesome for us as the consultants and awesome for you as a brand new consultant. So make a list. This is where you will work from. And I remember doing this when I started, making a 100-person contact list, being like, first of all, thinking, I don't know 100 people. And then, but I had just gotten married. And so my sponsor was like, didn't you just have like 350 people at your wedding? I'm like, yeah, I did. So I knew 100 people, right? So sometimes you got to think like that. Who would I be inviting to my wedding? And then there's going to be people that you wouldn't be inviting to your wedding, but they're people that you work with, they're coworkers, there's somebody that you use their service for something. So this is a really great memory joggers in order to make your list so that you can work from it, right? And so this is just, this just kind of shows you, gives you some ideas. It also breaks it down on maybe how you want to lead with, when it comes to sharing Arbonne with them. And so there's going to be some people that they're not going to be local. They're going to be in different countries. Write them down, because that's the beauty of an online social marketing business, is that there's no boundaries, right? So write those people down. There's going to be people that indirectly you're going to approach, and that's through social media, which again, this was not something when I started. Like when I started, it was literally like I had their phone numbers, and that's how we got in touch with people. Very different now. We've got this huge, network of people. And oftentimes too, I'll say, if they're like, well, I don't know anybody. Well, do you have more than 100 people on your Facebook? And I guarantee everybody probably does, right? Has a minimum of 100 friends. Write them down, and then it also breaks down leading with the business. So these are people who, when you make that list, then you're going to want to think about, like, who do I think would be amazing? Who's hardworking? Who's already successful? Who is amazing with people? They're just, contagiously optimistic. They're self-motivated. They're confident. They're driven. Those are people that you want to think about, those are the first people that you want to lead with the business. But I'm just going to give you a little tip right now. Oftentimes it's the people you least expect are the ones that end up joining you. And I've seen that over and over and over again in my 14 years with Arbonne, 14 plus years with Arbonne. So that kind of jogs to memory, and then it gives you somewhere to write it down, to categorize them, and then make notes. And you guys, if I can tell you one thing that I've learned in 14 years, is that no doesn't mean no forever. Sometimes it means I just don't have enough information. I don't know enough about it. I want to try the products first, or it just means not right now. But I'm telling you, oftentimes no doesn't mean no forever. So when you get those no's, it's okay, and a lot of times I've used the example, because you can't take it personally. If I took every no personally that I've had in the series of my business, well, one, I would not be an executive national vice president, but two, I would just be a mess, a hot mess, because, we got to think of, you got to think of it now. This is an old example, but it's like one of my favorites, like going through the drive-through at McDonald's, right? Remember when they'd ask you if you wanted to supersize things? So when you're driving through the, the drive-through at McDonald's and you order whatever you order, and then they're like, well, do you want that supersized, or do you want the extra large, whatever? And you're like, no, thank you. That person's not like, I quit. They said no, right? We're just offering somebody something. That's how you have to look at it. Like, we're offering it to them. It's totally up to them whether they take it or not. So take the personal attachment away from it. And I know it's hard because, you guys, in the beginning, I had people say no to me that I couldn't believe, like no to even trying my product. My people that were my family, people that I'm like, I thought they were my friends, and trust me, now, do you think I care? I don't care. And they have seen that I've been successful with or without their help. And honestly, like, I'm proud of that. And that was because a lot of people let that stop them instead of drive them. And I let it drive me. So let the no's drive you to move forward, because you're going to get far more yeses than you are no. I know that. And stats will tell you that. Okay. So that's your list. And just a couple things. Remember not to prejudge. Literally write down everyone, and then do a good sort, and just sort them into like the yes or no, the maybe later category. Okay. So I always have people do the list or have the list right away, because automatically when you're like, yes, okay, let's do this, your wheels usually start turning. Like, you start thinking of people, right? But here's some things that I want to talk about that are important kind of in your first week of business. Now, if you're listening to this and you're like, Becky, I've been at this for months and I haven't really done much, that's okay. Your first week can be absolutely whenever you decide it to be, okay? I'm just writing a note about something, so I want to make sure I mention something to you guys. But it can be absolutely any time that you decide for it to be. You just have to decide and go for it, right? So placing your business orders. So do you have the right tools? Many of you have probably already started, but I cannot encourage you enough that it's important for you to be a product of the product. You cannot sell from an empty wagon. You have to, for a while, I know there's going to be little things that we work at, at getting. But to me, the non-negotiable things in this business are our two flagship products, and that is our RE9 and our nutrition line. Those are the two things when you show up at a presentation or even sit down one-on-one with somebody, those are the things that mainly you're going to be talking to people about. And then you should have a very basic face of makeup in Arbonne. Those are the things that people, I find right off the beginning, those are the things that you're talking about. Those are the things that they're asking about. If you sit down at a one-on-one or you show up to a party and you pull out, a MAC lip gloss or whatever, and or you've got it on and somebody's like, well, what color is that? Right? You've got to be a product of the product. So think about those things. Are people going to take you seriously if you're not taking your business and your product seriously? So it's really important. And you guys, I made $900 a month working my full-time job when I started my business. I didn't have a lot of money, but I found a way and I made it possible. And I can tell you right now, that $2,000 investment that I made in my business over 14 and a half years ago has beyond paid me back. Beyond. And actually, I made that money back within 3 months of starting my business. And then my paycheck just grew every month from there, for a solid probably about 2 years. So if you get a little skin in the game, sometimes that's what really helps us to just know that, okay, I need to make this work. And you guys, when we put it in perspective, where can you start a business? So I'll use myself as an example. For a $2,000 investment with no education, it's like I graduated high school, so I have that, but I didn't go to university. I didn't go to college. Well, I did, but I'm a dropout. So even better, makes my story even better. But and then to be able to run a business that does $1 million in sales every single month with that initial $2,000 investment. And you guys, my business reached that within a 24-month period. Actually, it was probably less than that. So think about that, right? That's a pretty amazing return on your money. And that's how you've got to look at this. And if you treat this business like a $1 million business, I promise you it will pay you like one day. Okay. The second point on there is scheduling launch dates. So this is your, it's your training. It's important. It's important for you to learn, how to speak about the product, how to take orders, like all of that, right, is important. And so, your launch dates aren't just to help you with volume and sales and to share with your friends and family what you're doing. They're your training. That's how you get your training, right? So they're important. So, book them, get them booked. They can be, you can do one in your home. You can have a launch online. I can't stress enough that there's something about that in-person thing. It's great for you to get together. Sometimes we can't always do that because of logistics, but we've got technology that can help with that as well. So scheduling launch dates, completing your master names list. We just talked about that. Now book your calendar. So from your master contact list, you want to then start booking your calendar. And then creating your why story. So you'll see, I'm going to go through these things because they're coming up. And then the next is creating a post about joining the next Healthy Living group. So guys, for those of you that are listening to this, if you haven't been through the 30-day program, that's a huge, you guys, like, it's a huge selling feature in our business. I mean, it's a huge aspect of how we grow our business is nutrition. We've got the two facets, really, the nutrition and the skincare. So if somebody starts with nutrition and they go through the program, then we follow up after 30 days with the skincare. If somebody starts with the skincare, then after they're loving the skincare, then we follow up and talk to them about the nutrition. And so there are flagship product. It's about being healthy from the inside out, right? And that balance. So if you haven't done it, you want to be right now talking, you want to be making the commitment to do it for the next group that's starting yourself so that you can talk about it, you can post about it, and then make a goal to have a couple people do it with you and say, you know what, I don't know myself yet, but I've heard, I've seen the testimonies. Join me. Let's do this together. I know I'm going to be more successful. And I know you're going to be more successful if we do this together. And that's the best way you can learn. Remember I said earlier, learning to do by doing is huge. And that's one way that you can do it. So that's some things that you want to do in the very beginning. Okay. So then within your first month of business, so your first 30 days, set up a business strategy session with your upline. And then that's just kind of going through the 90-day plan, which I'm going to talk about a little bit. But honestly, when I have a strategy session with somebody, usually it's like, if it's in person, it's usually about like a 3-hour deal because we do more chatting and whatever and going through stuff. But if it's on the phone, you're going to want a solid hour just to go through things and discuss things and get your questions answered. Opportunity 10, identify 10 people who you would love to have on your dream team. Get your sponsors help to reach out to them. So how, your sponsor just might be able to teach you a little bit on verbiage or help you a little bit with verbiage when it comes to reaching out to those people. This is something that I know sometimes can be so scary, but what it makes this business even more fun is when we have a team and we have other people building it with us. So our goal is to help you find a business partner right away. If you reach out to 10 and one joins you right away, what you'll find is maybe in another month when they see you having success, they're like, oh, well, maybe I should do this with her. And then somebody else that you reached out will end up joining you. And you'll, of course, be, keeping that going. But trust me when I say that's how this can work, right? Ensure that you have your calendar booked. So I, talked about that kind of in the first week. So you just got to make sure, and we talk about doing 4 group events. So
where there's more than one person as your audience. 4 one-on-ones. So that's just like going and meeting somebody for coffee. When you, a one-on-one would consist of sharing the Arbonne, difference, sharing the income averages with them. So some sort of presentation, just having coffee and chatting about life is not a one-on-one, right? But an intentional business meeting or an intentional setup to share products with them is considered a one-on-one. And then the goal of having 4 clean eaters. So that's what we say and to share as our system, 4 by 4 by 4. And then you want to work to find 1 new business partner each month. So 4 groups, 4 one-on-ones, 4 clean eaters, 1 new business partner in a perfect world. Okay. That just gives you a roadmap that, if you're sitting there like, I don't know what to do, I don't know what my goal should be, that's where you can start, right? And guys, that's 1 a week, 1 group a week, 1 one-on-one a week. And then you're making, reaching out and asking for the clean eating. We, no matter who we are, can all find the time to fit that in if we're intentional about it. And that's as simple as this business can be. Okay. Getting business cards and labels, that's easy peasy. That's an easy thing to do. Put your nation meeting, GTC and CNTC on your calendar. Print instructions for your one-on-one. So this stuff's all pretty straightforward. Read through the catalog. So this is actually funny. The other night I was trying to think, I was doing a call and I was like, I need some more points on the cleanse. And it's funny because I'm drinking it right now. And then I was like, my sister actually said, just go to the catalog and read the description. And I'm like, duh, why don't I think to do that more? But when I started, you guys, I read the catalog front to back. I just read it. I mean, it gives you enough information. It familiarizes you with the products that we have to offer. Read that catalog, go through it and just get familiar with what the products are and what we have to offer. So yeah, there's, that just kind of gives you, in your first week, some things to do. And then within the first month, things to make sure that you're covering. So in this getting started package, we also have some verbiage. So this is great. I'm not going to go through this because this is something that you guys can look at and you can read yourself. But what I love is it really breaks down just for you, some things to say to people who are local that you want to have come to an actual physical launch. What you can do if they say no, that they can't make it, you can ask them to help you out by hosting. If they're like, I'm just so busy, or I'm in the middle of a reno, or my kids seem to have activities every single night, you know what, can I take you for a coffee and just do like a 20-minute overview? It'll just help me get familiar with the products and what I'm doing. Like, excuse me, I just need warm bodies. I need to be in front of people. Guys, just be cash, but try not to take no for an answer, because if they can't come on that one night, see if they'll host and help you out. If they can't host and they can't do it anytime soon, get in person with them. And I find that most people will say yes to one of these 3 things, okay? And then if they can't meet with you for coffee because they're so crazy busy, say, well, I'm going to drop you off some samples. They'll be in your mailbox tomorrow, and they may at that moment be like, this girl is not taking no for an answer, but then they'll use the products and they'll be like, ooh, I love her. I'm so glad that she didn't, right? And you have to have that kind of confidence that that's the kind of products that you have to share, right? So, and then there's some verbiage for long distance, having them do a virtual coffee date, if you want to send them out a sample in the mail. Okay, so that's good verbiage to go through. When you have your list, you're going to sort these people. You're going to know where to go with them if you kind of watch this. All right, creating your why. So honestly, this is so simple, but so effective. I have written so many why stories in my years, you guys, since I've had this sheet, which has been many years, but it's very effective. And what I want to just stress to you is, if you haven't done this already,
Make sure it's not longer than 2 minutes. You want it to be, you know, to the point, and share it with me if you want. Share it with your upline. I don't underestimate the power of your why story. And I like to weave things in. And so what I would suggest is that if you haven't done this already, go through, you know, write the basic stuff down. So, you know, a bit about you, like for me would be, you know, I'm a mom to 3, I'm married to Blade. We live on a ranch in Tyven. How was I introduced? Through my girlfriend Sonia at a rodeo that we were at. What you thought? No way, she's crazy. I don't know anything about skincare or cosmetics. I don't use, you know, anything on my face. What got you thinking about the business? When she told me that you could earn a free trip, and we had just gotten married and I wanted to honeymoon. What were your hesitations and fears? What in the world would people think of me if I did this Arbonne thing and then I failed? Who am I going to sell it to? Because I live in a town of, I don't live in town, I live out of town, but the closest town has 60 people. What my turning point was realizing that, you know, really, why not? I had nothing to lose. And this is where, at this turning point, is usually where you can bring in more points about the business, and then a glimpse into the future. So, you know, if you're brand new, I'll tell you guys, in the beginning for me, I was like, what makes me excited about this and what I see this doing for me and for many other people is giving me more time, allowing me the freedom to travel with my husband when he's rodeoing, and I can go and see my family in Alberta. And you know what? For me to have more money at the end of the month instead of month at the end of the money. And so if anything that I just said, you know, sounds like maybe you or you can relate to that, maybe we should chat after this. Okay. So you're going to be a little bit different than me, but write those points down, and then you can have it come out to a really great, you know, 2-minute why. So, you know, my why might sound something like this. Hey guys, my name is Becky Young. I'm an Executive National Vice President with Arbonne. I'm also a mom to 3 amazing kiddos and a wife to Blade, and we live on a ranch southeast of Regina. So depending on where I am, I might throw in, you know, I might explain a little bit more, a little less of where that is. But if I'm in Regina, I'd be like, I'm about 45 minutes southeast of the city in a little bitty place called Tyven. I was introduced to Arbonne in 2004 while I was at a rodeo in Alberta with my husband, traveling from one of my girlfriends. She shared with me that she was doing this Arbonne thing, something I had never heard of, and asked me to try some of the products. And I initially thought, no, thank you. This is not for me. I use whatever's cheapest and prettiest on the Walmart shelf. I hardly moisturize my face. I know nothing about skincare and cosmetics. And not to mention, how could I do a business like this? I live in Tyven where there's like 60 people. But when she mentioned to me that you could, okay, I missed one, sorry. So I had a lot of fears and hesitations, and I was really worried about being that pushy sales lady, that people would run the other way on the street from me, or, you know, that would block me, or, you know, not want to talk to me. But I realized really quickly that this was an amazing product, that I felt immediate results with. So if I felt that, I felt other people would feel that. And on top of that, I didn't know how, you know, we were ever there was going to be more, you know, more money at the end of the month instead of month at the end of the money. She also shared with me that she had earned a free honeymoon with the company, earned a free trip with the company. And we had just gotten married and had no time or money for a honeymoon. So I thought, you know what do I have to lose? If I just give this Arbonne thing a try, I'll give it a year. If nothing else, I could earn my husband and I a honeymoon and do it on Arbonne's dime. And here I am, 14 and a half years later. And this business has given me so much, you know, time to be at home with all 3 of my kids, travel the world, be able to have a 5-second commute to my office instead of an hour commute to the city. And so if anything, you know, I say tonight to you intrigues you, or sounds like something, you know, that could be a fit for you, just make sure you ask me questions at the end. So that's kind of how I would, take from those points and go point to point and then roll it into the story. Does that make sense? So it's important, and it's important that you want to throw little things in there that share with people, why you're doing this and why you're excited about it. So if you haven't done this, this is homework, okay? Make sure you do this and do it within the next 24 hours. It's not that hard, honestly. It'll probably take you 15 minutes. Write the points down and then just write it like you're talking. And then Voxer it to your upline, Voxer it to me, send me the written notes, whatever. I can tweak it and make it sound amazing, I promise, if you're struggling with it. Okay, preparing for your launches. I'm not going to go through this. This is just there as a tool for you. So read it. Don't discount some of the things that are in there, but anyways, just make sure that you go ahead and you read through that before you have your launches. Okay, this is an example of a monthly goal sheet. I can tell you, and I know, and it's proven, and everybody knows that. You can Google it. I don't even know the exact numbers. I should by this point in my business, but I don't. The percentage of how much more likely you are to reach your goals if you write them down. And so writing down your goals on a monthly basis is a huge thing. The very first thing you should do on the first of every month, Arbonne resets every month, you guys. Like every month it's a clean slate. So it just, accumulates and adds together. And so you want to rewrite those goals so that you can, make each month better. And honestly, you guys, it's all about just growing, little by little. And sometimes it's going to grow in leaps. And in the beginning, it's going to feel like not a lot. Trust me. I remember thinking, I can't imagine my numbers like saying 10,000. Like that would be crazy, right? Like I just was like, or I'm like, you got to do what to do First Step District? That's insane. And then I did what they told me to do as far as activity. And I did First Step District. And then I finished District Manager. And then the third month I did First Step Area Manager. And then we didn't finish in my fourth month. I did area quals over 3 months. So it was December. And then January, I finished and became a brand new area manager. So then February and March, I was an area manager. And by May, I did First Step Regional Vice President, which at that time we had to do dollars. It wasn't QV, but just to explain to you guys, that's like 40,000 QV. So I went from zero, me, team of one, a consultant, started my business in September, the very end of September, mind you. And really all I did at the end of September was get my order in. That's all I really did. And a few other little things that got me into qualification for district manager, to being in qualifications for regional vice president, the white Mercedes level, by April. Okay, so I became a regional vice president in 8 months from the time that I started. So I know what it's like to be like, I don't know how I could see 10,000, right? And so you just have to trust the process, and you have to know that if you set the goal and you set the intention, it's amazing what will happen. I believe so much in the law of attraction. I believe in what we put out there. And so we have to put it out there. We have to put it out there on paper. What I want to tell you is our basic building block, though, is 2,505. Okay, so you're in business if you're working towards making sure you have 2,500 new and new in volume and 5 new preferred clients each and every month. If you do that for a solid 12 months, not only will you have 60 new clients by the end of the year, I guarantee you're going to, have business builders, and you're going to move some levels throughout the year as well. But that's just your baseline, right? That's the basic. That's what I would call somebody, an active business builder, somebody working this business, if they're doing a minimum of that. So, you might write that down as you're good, but what's better, for you? What would be better? And again, it depends on where you're at. But if you're starting, I would say 2,500 is minimum because that quals you for district manager, right? And then better would be doing, you know, a little more than halfway, 3,500, right? So an extra 1,000. And best would be going all the way and becoming a district manager in 1 month. And guys, when you break it down, when you have 30 days, it's the way to go, because you don't make as much money as a consultant. Right away, you move to make that 8% as a district manager. So get to district right away. Why work another month? All you're doing is really condensing what you're doing over a 2-month period into a 1-month period. And so that's how I want to teach and train people. Get to district right away. Don't drag it out, because let's just use the example of, you know, January. If you do first step in January, then you finish in February, then you have to work the whole month of March before you'll ever get a district manager paycheck in April. Make sense? Instead, just become a district manager in January, work in February, and get your district manager paycheck in March instead. So you just get paid more a month early. We want to do that ultimately. So, you know, if you don't have this printed out or in front of you, just to give you a guide, that's what you want to do. And then just imagine for a minute, if you look at the team goals and you get one person joining your team and they do 2,500 and you do 2,500, well, that means that your good goal goes to 5,000 as a team. That's district manager bonus, right? And then if both of your goals are 3,500, and DM in 1 month, 6 and 6, guess what that is at the best? That means you just qualified for area, between you and your other team member, right? So what we, you know, put out there and what we work towards is what happens, you guys. And you've got to be able to see big, and I want to paint that vision for you, that absolutely can happen. Why take too much time? That's what I always say. Just get after it and get it done. I'm so glad that I just worked really hard and very consistently and became a national vice president in 18 months. Now, it doesn't always work that way for everyone, but I'm going to tell you, it wasn't always easy, but I did work really, really hard. I don't regret it for one moment. Not one moment have I ever looked back and thought, gosh, I should have worked a little less hard in that 18 months, and I should have taken more time to become a national vice president and make, you know, a $20,000+ paycheck and drive a white Mercedes Benz. Like, nobody says that. Nobody regrets it, right? So just give her laser beam focus and you will be blown away at what this business can do for you guys. It's just like, it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. So put those things out there. This 30 to 40 faces, it kind of breaks down a little bit more, but this is a quick little checklist if you want. These are just people you're in contact with that you're sharing Arbonne with. So if you have a launch and you have 8 people there, boom, baby, you tick off like 8 people, just like that. And then it's got a place for you to also write down the QV from each of your clean eaters, from your one-on-ones, and from your presentations, okay? Who am I helping to reach their goals? So sometimes people are like, well, I don't have a team. Like, it's just me. But honestly, manifest it. Put in there who you want to see on your team. That's what I would do if I didn't have anybody joining me in a month or didn't have anybody that was starting. I would put down who it was and who I wanted to. So eventually you'll have people to fill in here, right? Okay, and then this just breaks down a 90-day game plan for you, showing you our system of the 4x4x4 and what happens if you add one new person, okay? So you guys, this is cool when you really break this down and you take a look at the volume and the numbers. So if you do 4 groups, there's 500 QV at each, that's 2,000 done right there. 4 one-on-ones, approximately 500 QV total, you're at your 2,500. 4 clean eaters with their ASCPs, that's another 1,360. And then your startup order of anywhere between 1,000 and say 1,500 gets you done. Like, you are a district manager by doing that, okay? So it just kind of shows Great is halfway to district at 3,500, and awesome is promote to district manager at 6,000. So getting yourself in front of an average of 30 people, you're going to be able to do that. Month 2, then you find one other person, and trust me, if you're in front of 30 people and you're sharing the Arbonne story, you're going to find somebody to do this with you. And then you repeat. And it shows you how a great goal is hitting your DM bonus, which is an extra cash bonus of $240, or area manager qualification at 10,000 QV. Okay, it shows your new consultant and what they're doing. And then month 3, you plus team members, your new girl finds somebody, you find another somebody, and at the end of 90 days, you can be a new area manager with one district manager in qualification and one new district manager. Now, of course, this just shows you, obviously in a perfect world, everybody hitting this, but honestly, you guys, it's about intention. It's about putting it out there. It's about looking for those people to join you. It's about hitting those targets and those numbers yourself in order so that you can show other people how possible it is. Okay. And then qualification bonus, this breaks down the basics, what it takes as far as numbers to get to each level, what we get paid at each level, and the percentages that we make at each level. So if you're not familiar, I'm just going to remind you of some of the average income. So as a district manager, your average, you're going to make about $250 to $1,500 a month. So if you're following the plan and you're getting in front of 30 people and you're doing, your 25 and 5, and say it's just you're probably going to make, I don't know, maybe a $600-700 check. And then it depends on how many preferred client orders you have. You're going to have right now money from that 20% commission. But as soon as you have a team as a district manager, and say you're at 5,000 as a DM and you're getting your $240 cash bonus, you've got one team member, that number is probably closer to the higher end of that, right? So that's why it varies, right? It varies because it's dependent on your month and what you have going on. Area manager. So area manager, I said it took me 4 months from the time that I started to become an area manager, and area managers make, anywhere from 2,500 and up, right? To my highest paycheck as an area manager, I think was like around $8,000-9,000, you guys. Like it was almost $10,000 as an area manager, but that was when I was promoting to regional vice president. So think about that. In 4 months, even if you could make $3,000 with some side hustle, how much of a difference would that make for you in your life? Maybe that's paying tuition. Maybe that's paying a mortgage, car payment, whatever, guilt-free shopping. I don't care. Whatever it is that motivates you, think about that and get excited about it, you guys, because it's possible, 120% possible. Regional vice president. So this took me 8 months to get to this level. And as a region, your income goes from around that $5,000 to about $13,000 monthly. Again, it's very dependent on your business and what you got going on. So think in 8 months, even if you could make $10,000 a month, again, mind blowing, I know. And I remember years ago sharing a paycheck with my husband of somebody who had made $10,000 in Arbonne, and him telling me that he, didn't want to crush my dreams and didn't want me to get my hopes up, but I probably wasn't going to make that kind of money that these other people were making. And I was like, watch me. And I did, within 8 months. And you guys, it doesn't always happen that quick for everybody, but what I want you to think about right now is, if you keep doing what you're doing, will you be able to make that kind of income? Maybe even in 5 years, will your profession pay you $10,000 a month and give you money to drive a white Mercedes-Benz? Like, put it in perspective, right? When we really think about it, we're like, oh, like I worked at Arbonne for 3 days and I'm not a district manager, right? We just don't put it into enough perspective. Give it time. Give it attention, give it what it deserves. And I'm telling you, this business will pay you gangsta money. Okay. Money that you'll have money that you're like, I don't even know. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do with this. This is ridiculous. I worked way too little to get paid this. Like, is somebody going to come and pinch me and wake me up and be like, wake up? Not real, not happening. I've been waiting for that for the last 13 years. Nobody's come. It's legit, guys. It's legit. And it's that exciting. Okay. And then national vice president, that's just like, that's the gangster money. That's the mind blowing. Somebody come and pinch me. Okay. So then lastly, I just want to leave you. This is a really great thing to print out, print a couple of them. And it's just, okay, you kind of know what you need to do the month. You kind of know what you need to do as far as your goals, but like, what do I do each day towards my business in order to grow? And so personal development, reading and audio. Gosh, when I started, we had cassette tapes, guys, like cassette tapes for training. Pathetic, but legit. That's what we had. Okay. Now we have podcasts and things that we can listen to, and we can listen to audiobooks for personal growth. And I'm telling you, your business will never go bigger than you. Just remember that. That might not make sense right now, but one day you'll be like, I remember on that getting started call, Becky Young said, your business will never grow bigger than you. So build you, grow you, and your business will grow. Okay. Gratitude list. What are you grateful for? 3 asks a day. I've not really come up with anything super witty for this, but I always think like 3 asks away keeps the doctor away, but it's like not the doctor. I just don't even know what it is. But 3 asks, you guys, in your business, even if you do this 5 days a week, is 15 asks a week. And if you do that and you do this consistently, I'm telling you, you will see huge results. You will have samples going out. You'll have presentations booked. You'll have one-on-ones booked. You'll be following up with people about the business. You'll trust me. And it just breaks down. You can ask people about one person about the business a day. So by the end of the week, you've asked 5 people. By the end of the month, you've asked 20 people to take a look at your business. That's pretty good numbers, right? Presentation and product. It's just a way to kind of just sort them. Income producing activities booked. If you don't know what an IPA, that's income producing activity. Making flyers, scrolling Facebook and Instagram. These are not income producing. Income producing is like business chats, talking to people, doing a presentation. Okay. 3 client or PC follow-ups. You might not have clients or PCs yet. That's okay. You're gonna. Okay. You're gonna. 3 team member follow-ups. Same goes for this. You're gonna have teams. So that just might be something that you don't have to check off quite yet. Relationship building actions. This is all when it comes to social media. So if there's somebody that you're courting on Facebook or courting on Instagram, that's what the relationship building actions are about. And then review your goals and plan your top 3 priorities for the next day. Look at your goals. Like, what are your goals? I want to be a district manager by the end of the month. I want to find 1 new person to join my business. I want to make sure I have a minimum of 2,500 new and 5 sponsored. Like, if these are the lists of your goals that you have, if you review them every day, you guys, and then you write down the top 3 things that you want to do. So I actually go as far as usually writing like the top 6 things, and then those are the 6 things that I'm going to do the next day that are going to get me closer to my goals. So it might be like follow up with Bree, talk to Heavenly about the business, right? Like it might be things like that. That's just a perfect example of the things that I'm going to write down, because those are the most important things that I need to do in order to grow my business. So that I know was a lot of information, but I want to leave you with the last thing that I feel is super important. And that is what I call I'm just trying to unshare my screen. There we go. That is what I call the 4 C's for success. Okay. So there's 4 C's, and this has never changed for me. This is something that I've shared a million times because I believe so much in each one of them. Okay. So number one is to be committed. And I've talked about this a little bit, but you guys decide to be all in, okay? Decide to go all in and commit to this business. Give it 90 days of focus and commitment, and then take a look. And I know that you'll be in a place that you never dreamt that you could be. If you can be honest with yourself and go, yep, in these 90 days, I gave it my all, okay? Give it your all for 90 days and be fully committed. The second thing is consistent. So I always say, I don't care how much you can do every single month, but what I do care about is you being consistent in what you can do. So if you can do, follow the system to a T, perfect. And do the 4x4x4, great. Commit to that and be consistent at it. What kills consultants' momentum, excitement, business is when they do, a bunch one month and nothing the next. And then they do a little bit the third month and then they do nothing the next. And then they do a little more. Like, guys, don't do that to yourself. And it doesn't do the business any justice when you do, okay? So whatever you can commit to and whatever you can do, be consistent at it, okay? That's so important. Connected. So being on this call is the first step, right? Is you're connected to what's happening on the Fearless Nation page. Get on there daily and just check for any updates that you need. Be connected to meetings, local events, anything that's happening in your area. They always say that if you're up about your business, the meeting needs you. And if you're down about your business, you need the meeting, right? So, whether that's logging in on a call, I find if I don't do it live, I don't do it. Okay. So I know recordings are great, but I just find if I sit, I commit, I listen, when something's planned and scheduled, I get so much more from it. And then the last is coachable. Okay. So committed, consistent, connected, and coachable. So coachable means that you have to trust your sponsor. You have to trust me, as your upline MVP, that you guys, I'm not asking you to do anything that, one, I have not done myself, and two, that I know won't grow your business. Because ultimately, that's all I want for each and every single one of you, is for you to have the same, abundant life that I do because of this business, and so many things that it's brought me, from the amazing people, the friendships, the travel, the income, the car, the time with my family, all of the things, guys. I want every single one of you to have the same thing. So, be coachable. Don't think that you've got a new way to do things. Most times, your upline has tried and failed, and they're trying to teach you to learn from their mistakes, right? And there's been times where, we bring things in, or we, see things happen, and I've watched a lot of things come and go, a lot of things happen in this business over the years, but you have to just trust the process, and you have to trust that what, as a nation, we have laid out for you, it's what we feel is the best, right? And that we know and sometimes we can get wrapped up in, like, well, the grass looks greener over there, or they do things this way. You know what? It's all the same thing, really. Just get in front of people, share Arbonne, and the more you share it with, the more success you're going to have, right? Period. It is not rocket science. That's the awesome thing about it, is that this business is so simple, okay? Don't overcomplicate it, because that will only make things confusing for you. So I wish you the very best of luck and the most abundance. You don't even luck. That's the worst word that I could have possibly used, but you know what I mean, because I just know that I know that there is no better company, no better product, and no better time than now to be a part of this incredible company. So I'm going to go ahead and end the recording. Thank you guys so much for joining me.